Big game tonight. Welcome back in for the final segment, BYU and Kansas State. Good stuff with Tom Holmoe, and if you missed any of that interview with the current but soon-to-be former AD, we'll put that up on the podcast feed wherever you get your podcast. You can hear Tom Holmoe's comments. And this whole show, quite frankly, a lot of Tom Holmoe talk. Turning the page, though, to the big game tonight. BYU got a huge win earlier in the week on the road in Morgantown. By a lot of metrics, Mitch, they're on the inside of the bubble, but barely. Still a lot of work to do. And this Kansas State game, it's from a resume perspective, not as good as you'd hope because of Kansas State's slow start. However, you can argue they're the best team in the Big 12 in the way they've played for about the past, 3 or 4 weeks. Who do you got tonight, man?
I've got BYU, and this is, next to that Iowa State upset that Kansas State pulled off. I think this is the toughest game they've had in this 7-game stretch. But you're right, though. I mean, since January 15th, Bart Torvik, the predictive metric for college basketball, has K-State as the 9th best team in college basketball since January 15th. The only team that's ahead of them in the Big 12 is Houston. So they're playing at an elite level in this win streak. So if BYU can get this one done, it's a solid win. But to your point, from just a resume standpoint, it doesn't look glamorous because K-State's still only a quad 2 win for BYU. But I'll say BYU gets it done. I'll say BYU 83, Kansas State 79. I think it will be close, and it's going to be a full 40 minutes. And the Marriott Center's got to be rocking, and I think BYU finds a way to escape with a victory.
I've had a hard time picking this one, Mitch, because I like BYU at home, and yet they've had these close opportunities against better opponents in this first year under Kevin Young that they haven't delivered on. Texas Tech being one of those, and then Arizona, they had chances and then had that horrific 7-minute spell. So I think I have to pick Kansas State. Just I need to see a little bit more. What we saw against West Virginia was a big step forward. Their best players making plays, making clutch free throws down the stretch, executing offensively. That's all fine and good. I just need to see it a few more times before I feel comfortable saying you're going to get a team that's playing as good as anybody in the country.
And I think that's fair because any Cougar fan watching this team this season, it's up and down. They have not yet strung together consistent play every single night, even in stretches where they beat Oklahoma State, and then it's like there's a letdown at Utah. Just even against Colorado, that breakthrough win that they had on the road is terrible first half, and then they tore it up at the end of the first half and second half. But so it's a mixed bag with this BYU team, and they have to avoid the scoring drought. Do not have a 3+ minute scoring drought. If they can avoid those, I think they come away out with a victory.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. And not to get too far ahead, Mitch, but if you can beat Kansas State, one of the best teams in college basketball, even though it'll only say quad 1, I do think that will register a little bit better because it's close to the end of the season. And then the big one against Kansas on Tuesday night on ESPN, you find a way to win these two against the Kansas opponents, you're in a really good spot towards Selection Sunday.
It's great stuff with BYU basketball when you think about home games against K-State, Kansas, and then next week you're going to play at Arizona.
Oh,
this is the stuff Cougar fans have been dreaming of, and this is an awesome matchup tonight, and it's a new-look K-State team, as we've discussed earlier today. They are completely different other than Nagasin, but this is going to be a really good test for BYU if they can get this win. And I think for K-State, too, they've dug themselves such a deep hole. It's almost that case of now can they – this is almost the game where this puts them over the hump, and that's sometimes challenging when you bury yourself so deep. Yes, you can make a run at it, but to actually get over the hump, that's a challenge. So this is a big, huge game for K-State. It's a big one tonight.
It's a big one. That'll do it for us here on Cougar Sports Saturday. Pregame 6 p.m. and tip-off at 7. You can hear it right here with Greg Wrubell, Mark Durant on the Legacy Home of the Cougs, KSL News Radio. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.